Hey, how's it going, everyone? I am trying to answer a question for my friend Steve up in Montana. Shout out to Steve. And I thought I would just do a quick recording in case this answers a question you might have, or in case this touches on an issue that you maybe hadn't considered, or solves a problem that you've been facing as well. So here's his question. He's attempting to send a single templated email, and everything seems to work, but the email doesn't register into the system or get sent. So he's got it all set up, but when he finally goes to do it, it's not working. So chat support said you should clear your cache, and then for some reason that worked. Today he had the same issue happening. The system acts like it's working, but then it doesn't send. So I can't speak to exactly what's going on with that particular scenario, but I want to just dive into this and take a swing at my approach for how I would handle this type of scenario, because I think it might give you a different perspective. It also might give you a couple of options. If what you're experiencing isn't working, this might be a little bit easier. It also might be a little bit more streamlined as far as tracking and reporting on it goes. So follow along, and if you have any questions, let me know. There's a few different ways to do this, right? And the goal here, and the thing to remember, is that you're trying to fire off one email to one person, but of course you want it logged back into Infusionsoft, okay? So one advantage to doing it in Infusionsoft is you can have templates, right? If templates are important to you, then stay tuned. But if you don't need templates, I also want to call out that you can use the Gmail sync, or you can use the Outlook sync. So those are both free tools that will automatically map your email interactions back to your Infusionsoft contact records. So if you just want a record of all of your email, that might be an easier way to get the same result. But if you want to send a single templated email from Infusionsoft, the way you've been doing it through using a template on the contact record is totally fine. But I want to take a slightly different approach to this and show you what I recommend. So in order to do it my way, let's go ahead and set up a custom field. And we're just going to use a brand new field, and I'm going to use a text area instead of a text field. Text area gives me just a little bit more room to write. And we'll call this custom email text, okay? Or custom email message, something like that. And let's just go ahead and put it on the Custom Fields tab under the Custom Fields header, and we will create that. Okay, so now that that field exists, we can go ahead and jump over to our campaign builder. And I'm going to create a brand new campaign and call this Custom One-Off Email. And we'll go ahead and click Save. And the email itself is going to live in a sequence, right? Of course, that's how we deliver it. So we'll call this Email Delivery Sequence. But in order to trigger it, there's a few ways you can trigger it. The normal method that I would use is a note applied, right? I would use a note applied goal, so that as soon as this note is applied, it triggers off the pre-built email. And this is the structure that I recommend if you're doing like an FAQ style email, right? If you have a pricing email and anytime someone asks about pricing, you need to be able to trigger that email, I recommend just doing a note and then the actual delivery of that email. But because we need the ability to customize that, so because we need to customize the language in that email, what we're actually going to do is use an internal form, okay? So let's call this one-off email, and we can go ahead and attach it here. And so all this form needs to do is capture the message that we want to put in that email. So I'm going to go ahead and open this internal form here, and obviously try to click off so those aren't all highlighted. Let's see if we can get rid of that. There we go. So I don't need their email address because I already know who this person is. I don't need their first name. What I do need is the custom field I just created. So somewhere down here we should have custom email text. And I'm going to change the label so it says type in your email message here. And then we'll set this as required, okay? So, and then I'm going to put some context on here. When I build internal forms, I always like to put a little bit of context so the person who's using it knows exactly what's going to happen. So, when you submit this form, it will merge the message you typed into an email. Before the message will be the contact's first name and after the message will be your signature block. Okay, and then we could even put a spacer in there. And that's all we really need for this form. It's just the ability to capture that. And if we go back to our format, I think we can move those labels above the field and even make the field width a little wider. So something like that. I've also toyed with the idea of creating this to look like the email. So there's just a text block in the part you're going to be filling in. But stay tuned, because this form is pretty simple. All you really need is the one field on here. Now, in this sequence, this is where we're going to deliver the email. So let's go ahead and say custom email message. And we'll go ahead and open that email. And this is going to look like a plain text email. So I'm gonna design it to be fairly straightforward, fairly simple, right? And you can actually see there's a simple text option right here. What's important about this is it defaults to left aligned, and it's just black text on a white background. So it says, hello, contact first name. I'm going to get rid of hello because I rarely start my emails that way. And then I'm going to go ahead and remove the body of this, and then I will merge in the custom email text message, and then I'll just say regards and merge in my signature. Okay, so that's the contact's owner. You can also select a specific person, but presumably the person who's sending them a one-off email will be their owner. And then down here, I'll also include just a simple divider. And I like to do like a light gray on that divider color so that the unsubscribe and the address block are kind of in their own section down there. Okay, so that's all we really need for this email. We do need to set a subject, okay? So I'm just going to put something simple like here's that info, right? Or something like that. But you could very easily create another custom field where you choose the subject line. So if you need that subject line to be custom based on what the context of that email is, well, you just create another merge field and you pop it right in here, so you're merging that subject line in as well. Now let's go ahead and set this email to ready, and then let's go ahead and set this sequence to ready. And that's all there is to it. Okay, so what we've done is we've created an internal form that allows you to capture a message, right? And you just type in that message, and then as soon as you submit that internal form, it fires off a pre-built email, and the only part of this email that changes is that custom message that merges right in there. So basically you are sending a one-off email. You're just doing it with the added benefit of Infusionsoft tracking, Infusionsoft deliverability, and also having a record of that form being submitted and the date and time that all went out. So let's go ahead and publish this, and I'll show you how you access this from the contact record. Now, Steve, you mentioned wanting to use a legacy template because you wanted to be able to BCC, right? And obviously you can't BCC using this email. But if you do have a template elsewhere that you want to draw in, you can actually use an action set, okay, to fire off that email. So you do have the ability to swap this out and use an action set if for some reason you want the legacy email or you want to send one of your templates from your template library. Now, like I said, let's go find a contact record and I'll show you how you would fire this off. So if we go to Zach Morris here, we're going to have a forms section. It's about halfway down on the bottom half of the record, internal forms. And here we have the one-off email, and we'll go ahead and fill this out. And you can see this is the form I just created, so we'll type in our email message here. Thanks for everything on the phone today. Let me know if you have any questions about what we discussed, right? Something like that. And then as soon as I click save, it's achieving that goal. And then we can see here on the campaigns tab, right? That goal was just achieved. He's now in the email delivery sequence, and coming up here in just a moment, we've got the custom email message. Here's that info. And I think if I click that, we'll see, look, there's the merge field that we just typed in. So that's the email that's going to be sent off, okay? So that just about covers how I would do custom one-off emails from within Infusionsoft. like I said, you now have a record of the form submission. You will have a record of the email history. You'll have their campaigns backed up here. And there's a few different things you can do to further customize this if you want to take it to the next level. But hopefully that gives you a few ideas you can work with. Later.